We're going to jump into our next PIM. So these guys, Comestri, helping merchants sell anything to anyone, anywhere, anyway. That's the best way to put it. It's a powerful commerce hub that places a customer's product experience at the heart of any merchant's business. So they're an award-winning SaaS platform that was developed from 10 plus years of industry experience. They empower merchants with tools like their product information management, data orchestration, and of course as well, channel management. So Comestri, they help merchants unify the customer product experiences in many industries. I'm talking automotive and parts, clothing and apparel, consumer electronics, food and beverages, health and beauty, you name it, these guys do it. Whatever the industry, whether it's retail, wholesale, whatever, these guys will deliver a unifying product experience. And right now, I would like to welcome Ben Cook, the General Manager of Business Development and Marketing at Comestri. He's here to explain why you should play a bigger composable commerce game. Data. We know it's one of the sexiest topics in e-commerce, hence why you need to get access to it for your business to succeed. So when you're adopting a composable commerce strategy, the benefits of being able to call on specific technologies that offer the right data at the right time, it means that you can remain agile when you're creating a new generation experience for customers. Please join Ben to find out more around supporting a composable world with an API-led approach for product, inventory, delivery, and pricing data. Welcome, Ben Cook from Comestri.
Hey, Raven. Hey, guys. Raven, you're doing a fantastic job. You have the absolute ability to make everybody smile. So congratulations on that, and congratulations on Overdose on a successful summit so far. And thank you for having us on board as we can, I guess, hopefully give you a little bit of insight into what we deem to be composable commerce and how our platform plays into that space for the benefit of all. So much appreciated, and thanks to Todd and the crew. Alrighty, if I can just share a screen, hopefully this works for me. Let me know when that comes up. Is that working for you, Raven? Excellent. Alrighty, well, thank you all. Again, I'm here as the General Manager of Business Development and Marketing here on behalf of Comestri, and we thank you all from behalf of the Comestri team. My role here today is to sit and let you know a little bit about how we fit into a composable world. I really appreciate going after the Akeneo guys. They've done an excellent job on explaining why PIM, why PXM, and why product data is key in your e-commerce environments. And what I want to do really is kind of go a next step on from that, maybe talk to you a little bit about tactics on how that can be employed, and look at what it means to be a product-led organization in the composable commerce space. So without further ado, I will move to the next slide. So what is composable? Again, I am extremely conscious that there has been a fair amount of information passed to you guys around what composable commerce is. In terms of our view of the world, we do see it as being, that classic API-led approach, moving on from the concept of headless commerce into what is, how do I take best of breed solutions, componentize those, and then start linking them into my customer experience through specific applications. And when we're talking about applications now, I think what is really interesting in our world is this move that goes beyond websites into mobile apps, into digital marketplaces, into in-store experiences. More and more from a Comestri perspective, we're getting asked to supply product data into a myriad of solutions, whether they're in the IoT space, whether they're in social commerce, down at point of sale, down at kiosk, and all of those kind of in-store applications as well. It's a fundamental shift that we've seen in the market in the last 2 to 3 years as people start to build out their solutions to offer a more flexible approach, a more consistent approach across customers, and break down those kind of juggernaut approaches of yesteryear. So that is kind of, I guess, our view of the world. This term composable commerce, as you may know, was actually coined by Gartner a few years ago now. And again, without going too much into that, They would talk to you about the commerce-led approach, which is the traditional monolithic systems that have been discussed in and around this summit, into an experience-led approach, which by and large is the separation of the head to the commerce engine in that typical headless fashion, into what is now becoming this modular API-first approach, where I can take the storefront and or any other DXP platform and then break that into the silos of information that come from things like catalog, content, checkout, transactions, inventory, pricing, promotions, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it's that view of the world that we're going to talk to a wee bit now. What we have been doing over at Comestri is looking a little bit about what eCom 3.0 starts to provide to us as we move towards the next wave of e-commerce. This shift towards these adaptable module-based systems. How do I take information that is sitting within a system that best presents itself to the application that is required by the customer at every stage of that journey? We're seeing more and more in machine learning. We're seeing more and more in AI as everybody jumps on the bandwagon of wanting to provide the most personalized experience to their customers. And for that, they need to be agile. And by agile, it means not just the implementation of, but the swapping in and out of different systems if something comes along that's better, as opposed to a huge end-to-end waterfall-based implementation approach. And how do they stay connected to those consumers at every step of that journey? And by that, we mean, how are things found? How's product found? How do we interact with customers through digital means, through social means, through marketing means, through EDMs, through marketing automation, personalization in the form of search and merch systems. How do I make the experience for those that are browsing the web, those that are browsing mobile applications? How do I make my offers relevant if I'm a retailer? How do I stay on top of that conscious commerce curve to make sure that I'm engaged with the right retailers in the right space? All of that is becoming what is eCom 3.0, and composable commerce is absolutely key to that. So as has been discussed before, personalized experiences, highly flexible, again, vendor flexibility. If new technology comes along that's slightly better than the older style of technology, we want to be able to swap that in so that, again, we can start to utilize that. This stuff needs to be highly scalable and it needs to be fast. I do come from a background of web performance, and there is a lot of data around that says, page load times, checkout times, transaction completion times, all of those things need to be extremely fast to make sure we're continuously engaged with our clients. And we provide unique journeys, that level of personalization. How do I take, what is my product, what is my inventory, what is effectively cash sitting on my balance sheet, tied up in stock, and how do I present that to a customer as fast as I can in the right manner so that the customer is able to buy that product at the right time when they're looking for it at the right price? And that is utopia when it comes to retail. Gartner would tell you that by 2023, organizations that have adopted a composable approach will outpace competition by 80% in the speed of new feature implementation. Technology businesses such as ours are under extreme pressure to make sure that we are providing the latest and greatest to retailers. The reason being is if we're not doing that, there is somebody knocking on the door who's going to provide that kind of experience for an organization to incorporate within their business. And the world of composable and API-led means that integration's quicker, faster, implementation of these things is more agile, quicker, faster. And as a result, technology businesses like Comestri need to keep up with that space. So what does all that mean? I'm going to give you a little bit of an understanding of how we work. I'm going to show you a little bit of how businesses that we work with use our platform in that space. And then I'm going to take some question and answers. So where does this all present itself? We've looked at those diagrams where we look at content. Again, there are some great solutions that have been talked to within this summit. The Contentfuls of the world, the content stacks of the world that we play alongside. You've got silos of data that sit within content that are then presented to that orchestration layer. Pricing, promotions, loyalty, CDPs, the transaction engines that typically come out of those e-commerce platforms that we know and love. And then you start getting into things like inventory. What's my available to sell? How is that presented to that front layer? And what we're here to talk to you about today is catalog, product data, pricing data, and again, how that is presented not just to a website, but also to these kiosks, to mobile apps, to in-store experience, to social commerce, and now we're seeing the activation of voice as well. From a Comestri perspective, we take that one stage further through our channel management expertise into marketplaces, dropship, and product feeds. And by product feeds, what we're now starting to see is data syndication out to other tools that require a product feed. What we mean by that is we're seeing marketing automation systems that want to deliver an e-receipt to their customers, that also then want product data, care instructions, information on when to update warranty information, complementary products that then come as part of that process, renewals, subscriptions, and all of those receipts from a marketing perspective. They want to consume product data on the fly to make sure that, again, they are personable to the individual that they're being sent to. That all consumes data, and so I am here to look at how Comestri provides that kind of data out to that kind of presentation layer in a composable world. So for me, what I think is interesting on this, and I'm going to start drawing some stuff now, is we talk about PIM. PIM and that product experience, that product management space, how do we get information into a PIM? How do we enrich that information when it's in the PIM? And what it means to start adding huge amounts of content to product, videos, sheets, handling instructions, as well as all the attributes and attribution, all of the sell to text, all of the imagery and all the damn products that are required that make, the product experience what it needs to be across various channels. Within Comestri, we have this concept of our channel manager. Traditionally, we would then take all of that product data and then force that into an e-commerce system, right? E-commerce systems in their monolithic stance then used to consume all of that data in different fields. They would build out their own fields, mimic a lot of that information, bring all that information in, and on top of that e-com system, they would present that to the orchestration layer. Right now, though, what do they really need? Categorization, product data. They need a little bit around titles, descriptions. They want some inventory. They need enough information to be dangerous. We're also seeing that all of that information needs to be injected into the search and merch systems. The guys that you've heard from in terms of Algolia, there's SearchSpring, Fred Hopper, Attract, et cetera, all want to consume the product data, all want to consume inventory to make their personalization experience much more wholesome. Where we're seeing the biggest benefit of this type of information, though, is being able to provide that into an environment that looks like a materialized cache. A super fast, highly scalable, infinitely flexible environment that's on a global basis that I can run REST APIs, GraphQL environments over the top of, right, and consume that information on the fly to a presentation layer, whatever that presentation layer needs to be. And that comes into whether it's at web, whether it's in store, whether it's online, whether it's in mobile, whether it's in marketing engines, whatever eyeballs you want on that kind of data, it needs to be presented in as fast as possible on a global basis. What becomes really interesting about that is we're talking to retailers that have different pricing on a store-by-store level. Again, presenting that data using an e-commerce system in a monolithic type approach, really quite hard. They can't present it fast enough. They can't consume it quick enough. It's changing all the time. But being able to present pricing and promotional information into a materialized cache that can be collected on the fly is a much more scalable and faster environment. Being able to do that with product data across different product sets. What does my product experience look like if I'm selling shirts compared to if I'm selling cosmetics, compared to if I'm selling consumables or homeware goods? Again, each of those product experiences may need to be different depending on the type of category that you're looking at. And then lastly, because at Comestri, we do also focus on inventory available to sell. We're not just about product data, but we also consume pricing, promotion, and inventory data. When it comes to our distributed order management system, we are providing really highly scalable APIs that look at delivery options based on product, based on size, on weight, where it sits, which store it sits in, which 3PL, whether it's supplier information, and we're presenting all of that on the fly to a presentation layer. And again, what I think is interesting about that is if I look at some of our clients that are doing some quite fascinating stuff, they're able to quickly use those APIs to say, well, for this product in this store, is it available? Is it not? If it is, how many do I have? Has anything been sold in the last few minutes that then changes that available to promise or available to sell inventory availability? If it has, how do I communicate that to the customer? And that's at a PDP level. Then I start adding all of these things into my cart, and then I still need to go through another check to say, are all these things still available? Are they available for click and collect? Is there a different delivery option? If some of them are available for click and collect, but I also want some to be delivered because of the nature of the product that it is, again, all of this then needs to be presented in a manner that can be easily consumed and trusted by the customer as part of that customer journey. And again, what's interesting about that is that's not just being an approach that's now being taken by a web. That's also an approach that's being taken by point of sale. We are seeing point of sale systems that are now coming into organizations and into the market that don't traditionally get inventory given to them. They actually want to go and pick up that inventory on the fly because they're very conscious that things are being sold online, things are being sold through marketplaces, and things are being sold in and around stores that are going to affect that delivery promise to the customer. And all of that information needs to be consumed instantly, right? And we're building an architecture to make Composable really, really granular for those kind of organizations to consume. I'm hoping that all makes sense, and I'm happy to take any questions. I just thought I'd bring up maybe a couple of clients that we see that are doing this quite well. If I look particularly at Adore Beauty, I have worked with these guys for many, many years now. They have recently, when I say recently, probably 4 or 5 years ago, they were right at the forefront of building out a composable architecture before even composable was coined as a term by Gartner. Their CTO, Gareth Williams, is phenomenal, one of the leading individuals in the industry, I think, for building this out. And he talks a lot to product data, providing that as a product experience, and then adding in things like pricing and being able to consume this stuff on the fly in different instances. I'm also going to talk a wee bit to Pillow Talk. What I think is interesting about those guys is they have a very complex data set. That data set then needs to look at things like inventory, store options, being able to click and collect, ship from store, and home delivery almost on the fly. So if I can, if I completely lost my mouse, I'll stop sharing for a second, if that's all right. And I will now go and look at a slightly different screen. Alrighty, 2 seconds. Where are we? All right, Raven, can you see that? Excellent, perfect. Alrighty, one of my favorite sites, Adore Beauty. What I really like about these guys is that their ability to take product data, inject that alongside content, being able to shop that and present that in a highly scalable fashion extremely quickly to clients, I think is still second to none for many sites in Australia. So if I go and look at Skin, and what I do love is that these guys are using a fair bit of architecture from a lot of products that have been talked about and mentioned within this Composable Commerce Summit. So if I go and shop Skinstitute, the first thing that happens is they are going to present me with a whole bunch of products that come online and give me, that traditional kind of, search and merch category merchandising space. Mine's a bit slow. As I scroll down, again, what I really like about what these guys do is they then start to add a lot of value when it comes to things like blogs, blog posts, and how all of that kind of information gets consumed on the fly. And you can then start to see more articles. They're trying to present content that's relevant to individuals based on what you're searching for, not just product data. But then when I start looking at this content, they are one of the few sites that I see that really start to blend content with products. And what I mean by that is when I start looking at this article, I'm then starting to look at the pricing and product information blended integrally with that content that's coming from their CMS system all the way across that piece. And again, when I then start to look around, I can then shop this article straight away. Here's my products that are on screen, and then I can start to add these straight to cart or look at them. From within those articles, I can then click on that article. Again, it takes me to a quick view of that product. Again, it's a different view, same product data, all being composed on the fly and all coming at you extremely quickly, so that I do not interrupt the consumer journey as to how fast I might want to add this thing. And if, again, I want to look at the full details of that, I get the full PDP, product enriched experience around things like product info, around things like how to use, the description of ingredients, and all of those sorts of things that's relevant to this product. And for me, when I start thinking about how they compose their architecture to make this happen, it is fundamentally how you would put a composable architecture together. And I really like what they're doing. The second example that I quickly want to show you, conscious of time, again, is Pillow Talk. This is a very quick one. When I look at these guys, again, I'm understanding their product data model is extremely complex by the nature of what they do. Again, these are all sets. Sets themselves can't be, well, I need a blue one and a red one and a green one. I can't show you inventory that's different based on different colors or different color options. But again, what I like about this, the moment I add this and look to add this to my cart, it tells me it's available in store. There is a call to say, is this available? And if so, where? My store is set to Belrose. But if I want to go and change that, depending on where my location is, I can then start to look at product availability, across the space, across queen beds, king beds, super king beds. That's also based on color, et cetera, et cetera. I can set that my store, and then that kind of rechanges my whole online experience. And it's a very simple use case, but actually for a complex product set with complex inventory that's coming from multitudes of stores across the board, being able to gather information and present that information on the fly, I think is extremely powerful. And definitely plays into how I consume data on the fly in a composable world. All right, I'm just then quickly going to flick back to my presentation.
We've got some questions that are coming for you as well, Ben.
Oh, love it. I love questions. Bring them on.
How does your architecture work for different product sets?
Great question. Our architecture for different product sets means that you can compose what that looks like based on whatever the product set is. So what I mean by that is, if I am a department store, is probably the classic example of that, Raven, I might want to present a different user experience for electronics, right? Electronics have, there are lots of graphics, lots of product details, lots of product brochures, videos. How I compose a page for electronics compared to how I compose a page for cosmetics would be completely different. Cosmetics is about ingredients. It's about why this is good for your skin tones, lots of different model shots, not so many videos, et cetera, et cetera. And so if you think about those two different product experiences within a same site, how do I want to pull that data? How do I change that data? How do I blend that data with content and product data all at the same time? Completely different user experience that you want to provide, right? And I think for us, being able to kind of compose that into a materialized case and pick that up as is needed on the fly, is where the kind of real benefits kind of come through.
Amazing. You did mention hot data. Can you explain why you refer to this as hot data?
Yeah, good question. Hot data for us is, so when we think about product data and the product experience, again, seasonality comes into it. Our products change, a fair bit, but they're not necessarily right here, right now. I need the immediacy of this data because it's changed within the last 5 seconds. Right? Hot data, though, could be pricing changes that come through. And probably for us, more interestingly, in terms of hot data, is inventory. And I guess within a Comestri realm, where we're understanding product, pricing, inventory, we're dealing with orders, shipments, delivery information. Inventory is by far one of the most intriguing conversations that we get into with our customers, so that we are providing as accurate as inventory as possible on the fly in near real time, so that we don't overpromise to the customer based on that sales aspect.
And on that topic of inventory, I've got another question here. Do you work with PLM systems, and how are they different from a PIM?
Yeah, good question. PLM, which stands for Product Lifecycle Management, typically right at the start of a product lifecycle, is sampling all of the things that I need to do. If I'm in the fashion space, I'm off to Europe, I'm taking photographs of people walking down the catwalk, everyone with funky hair and funky glasses. And then, and as part of that process, I then sample that, create my range for the season that's probably 18 to 24 months out. That all happens in a PLM system. When they hit the button to say, go to manufacture, there is a lot of information that we want to consume from a PIM system. I want to know arm length, shirt type, what the collar type is, how many buttons I've got, the buttons on the inside, the outside, do I have a pocket, do I not have a pocket? And all of that information that is being given from manufacturing instructions gets consumed into the PIM, and therefore we can provide a better product experience to the consumer based on that type of information.
Nice, nice. Well, thank you so much for coming and joining us today, Ben. I think you've brought great validity to the table from Comestri, and we appreciate your time today. And I love that you also got the pink shirt memo. So thank you for that.
Hey, absolutely. Fantastic. Look, thank you very much. Thanks to all for watching. Appreciate our involvement in this summit. It's been fantastic so far, and I can't wait to see the extra presentations. Thanks again, Raven. Thanks again, Todd and the gang.
Thank you so much, Ben.